The Holy Gospel as it is recorded in Luke. Then Jesus said to the disciples, "That is why I tell you, do not worry about your life and what you are to eat. Do not worry about your body and what you are to wear. For life is more than food, and the body is more than clothing. Take a lesson from the ravens. They do not sow or reap. They have neither food, cellar, nor barn, yet God feeds them. And how much more valuable are you than birds? Can any of you, for all your worrying, add a single hour to your life? If even the smallest things are beyond your control, why worry about all the rest? Notice how the flowers grow. They neither labor nor weave, yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all his splendor was robed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass in the field, which is here today and thrown to the fire tomorrow, how much more will God look after you? You have so little faith. As for you, do not set your hearts on what you will eat or what you will drink. Stop worrying. All the nations of the world seek these things, yet your Abba God well knows what you need. Set your sights on the kingdom of God, and all these other things will be given to you as well. The Gospel of Christ. Do not worry about your life. Do not worry about your body. Can any of you, for all your worrying, add a single hour to your life? Look at the birds. Look at the flowers. Stop worrying. When we try to understand a biblical text, it is helpful if we keep in mind three particular contexts. The first context that we need to keep in mind is the context of the story itself. What's happening in and around the characters in this story. And the second context to keep in mind is the context in which the storyteller tells the story. What's happening in and around the anonymous gospel storyteller that we call Luke when he puts this story together. The third context to keep in mind is our own context. What's going on in our lives and in the lives of the communities in which we live? So let's begin by looking at the context of the story itself. Jesus is speaking to his disciples, his followers, those who seek to learn from him. The year is somewhere between 30 and 33 of the Common Era. The place is Palestine, a far-flung province of the Roman Empire. The people to whom Jesus is speaking are a conquered people, living under the oppression of a foreign power. The people to whom Jesus is speaking have no power. They are being persecuted, oppressed, and terrorized. Life is difficult. And there's a very thin line between life and death, and the people to whom Jesus is speaking understand that by listening to this rebel Jesus, they are risking their own lives. All Jesus' listeners really have is hope. Hope that one day their Messiah, and they hope that Jesus is their Messiah, one day their Messiah will rescue them from their cruel taskmasters. So now, fast forward about 60 years, maybe a little more than that, to the context in which the anonymous gospel storyteller that we call Luke tells this particular story. Conditions have deteriorated. The Jewish people have rebelled against their Roman oppressors, and they have been crushed. The temple, the very heart of who they are as a people, has been destroyed, and much of Jerusalem along with it. Both Jews and the followers of the way have been driven out into the wilderness as outlaws. And historians tell us that after the rebellion, Rome inflicted abominable terrorism upon the people of this once proud Jewish nation. And the smell of rotting flesh was very familiar. Thousands upon thousands were crucified as enemies of Rome, and their corpses were left to rot on their makeshift crosses. And for the followers of the way, the early Christians, life was worse. Excommunicated from their synagogues, they met in secret, fearing not only the Romans, but their Jewish neighbors as well. So now, fast forward to today. What's going on around us as we hear this story? Well, there's this crazy, orange megalomaniac sitting in the most powerful office in the world, the most powerful office the world has ever known. And we're told that this powerful buffoon has seriously contemplated exercising his power to nuke hurricanes. And all around us, the dangers of climate change are being felt as winds blow and sea levels rise. Money, money, money is the order of the day as we scramble to ensure that we get our share. So we're busy people. And we are well-informed people, and we know more about what is going on in the world than any other generation before us. We are stressed out. And we don't know what to do first. And so we come to church seeking what? Guidance, solidarity, comfort, inspiration, or maybe just a little distraction from the stress of it all. But even here, we cannot relax because here too, we are met with stress-inducing challenges. Churches are closing all over the place. The once mighty flagships of our own Lutheran Church, well, they've closed already. And our beloved little Holy Cross, we're struggling to survive. There are just a few of us left, and we are finding it more and more difficult to meet our challenges. In all three contexts to which this story speaks, there's so much for people to worry about. Indeed, in all three contexts, the temptation to despair is immense. And to all three contexts, Jesus says the same thing. Lighten up. Do not worry about your life. Do not worry about your body. Can any of you, for all your worrying, add a single hour to your life? Look at the birds, look at the flowers. Stop worrying. Lighten up. Look around. Look at the beautiful people that we are, right here in this place. We live in one of the best places on earth. We are richer than the vast majority of the people on this planet. We have wealth beyond the wildest dreams of our ancestors. We've got this building, this humble building that we love, and we have each other. There are no oppressors out there on our doorstep, waiting to torture us. The first followers of the way would have loved the opportunity to worship freely in such a fine place as this. And we are relatively healthy, coughs and colds aside. Most of us, we live really comfortable lives. So why is it so difficult for us to hear Jesus say, do not worry about your life. Do not worry about your body. Can any one of you, for all your worrying, add a single hour to your life? Look at the birds, look at the flowers, stop worrying. I know, because I'm still worried. All of this is easier said than done. It's so very difficult not to worry when you're stressed out. Stressed out. Now there's an interesting phrase. Think about that phrase for a moment. Can any of you remember your parents ever saying they were stressed out? Being stressed out is a condition of modern times. It's a relatively new phenomenon. We have become masters of the art of catastrophizing. We can awfulize a situation faster than a Roman centurion can grab his sword. And I know I've said this many times, but think about the way we talk to one another, especially the way we greet one another. Hi, how are you? What's the most common response to this simple question?
Fine.
I'm busy or fine. I'm fine or I'm busy. The good Canadian one, I'm not bad. Not bad. But the one that really, really causes the greeting conversation to kind of spiral into this strange place is, I'm busy. Because usually what happens is the person you're talking to says something like, well, I'm busy too. Right? It becomes this competition, this one-upmanship. You think you're busy. You should see how busy I am. We are no longer human beings. We are human doers, obsessed and stressed out by all the stuff we need to do and all the stuff that we are not doing. It's no wonder that we catastrophize and awfulize all day long. We've forgotten how to enjoy this life of ours. Take the weather, for example. We're entering a spectacularly beautiful season of autumn. We've had marvelous weather for the last few weeks. Fabulous. And yet, just this week alone, instead of saying to me how lovely it is outside, I cannot tell you how many people have insisted on awfulizing the weather. Winter's coming. Yeah, you enjoy it now. It might be lovely, but winter's coming. It's kind of like that Game of Thrones thing, where everybody's afraid. Winter's coming. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Doesn't matter that winter can be beautiful. Doesn't matter that we all enjoy the luxury of beautiful, centrally heated homes. Most of our cars have heated seats now. Your car, our car, it has a heated steering wheel, so our hands won't get cold. Heck, we have cars. We don't have to trudge here on snowshoes. Nevertheless, we moan because winter is coming. And there are lunatics running the world. And churches simply can't survive in our modern world. We're fighting a losing battle. People these days are spiritual, but not religious. So we huddle together, and we do what everyone else is doing these days. We catastrophize, and we awfulize because winter is coming. These days, seems as though worrying is the only way that we can find to connect to one another. So many of our speech patterns revolve around our stress. Take a moment, step out of yourselves, and pay attention to how and what we are saying to one another. Now, the experts say that the average person has about 60,000 thoughts a day. How many of your 60,000 thoughts are negative? How many of the conversations we have with one another lean into our fears? Just think about social media for a moment. How many posts or articles do you read that strike fear into your heart? Global warming may not be as big a problem as global whining. To all of this catastrophizing and awfulizing, Jesus insists, do not worry about your life. Do not worry about your body. Can any one of you, for all your worrying, add a single hour to your life? Look at the birds, look at the flowers, stop worrying, lighten up. To which I'm sure you're thinking, easier said than done. Tell us how. Well, don't get me wrong. Our problems are real, and they're important, and they're crucial, and our challenges need to be dealt with. But Can any of us, for all our worrying, add a single hour to our life? Lighten up. Let's try for just a moment to be spiritual instead of religious. One of the best definitions that I've come across recently comes from the social researcher Brene Brown, who writes, in fact, I like this definition of spirituality so much that I printed it in your bulletins today. Brene Brown writes, spirituality is recognizing and celebrating that we are all inextricably connected to each other by a power greater than all of us, and that our connection to that power and to one another is grounded in love and compassion. Practicing spirituality brings a sense of perspective, meaning, and purpose to our lives, to which I can hear Jesus say, lighten up, dear friends. If we can connect to one another in ways that do not begin with catastrophizing and awfulizing, perhaps we can begin to gain a sense of perspective that will not only bring meaning to our lives together as a community, but may just remind us of the many things that we love about one another. I know that we have all sorts of challenges in this little church of ours, and it's difficult not to worry. I stay up nights worrying about our life together in this community. And one of the things that I have come to believe is that if the only level at which we can connect to one another is through our worries, we will lose the desire that we have to connect to one another in the first place. We need to connect in ways that remind us of our many blessings and inspire us to share our blessings. Now, I'm hoping that we can begin by stepping out of ourselves and looking at how we talk to one another. If we try to become witnesses to our own behavior, think about what we're thinking, think about what we're saying. Are we leaning into our fear? Are we connecting through negative language? Are we connecting through misery and worry? Now, the best way that I know how to step out of myself is with humor. And when I hear Jesus say, do not worry, I hear him say it with an Irish lilt, because for me, all the best comedians are Irish. Sure, what do you want to be worrying about? Have you taken leave of your senses? What good is worrying going to do you? Look at the birds. Sure, they're not worried. Look at the flowers. They can't worry. Look around. The birds fly and the flowers are lovely. How stupid are you to be worrying in such a place as this? Stop worrying. Now, as lovely as an Irish lilt may be, I can still find something to worry about. And it doesn't quite make me laugh. And laughter is what is called for, because laughter is one of the deepest and surest ways that humans connect one to another. So the other day I was wondering how to get us from worrying to laughter. Now, I'm not a comedian, so I'm not going to try to joke us out of our troubles. But I am a student of human behavior, and apparently, according to those people who know about humor, it's impossible to take someone seriously if they're wearing one of those. Do not worry about your life. Do not worry about your body. Can any of you, for all your worrying, add a single hour to your life? Lighten up. It's still not working. Come on. Pass it around. Everybody come on. Come on. Hopefully there's enough for everybody.
We need one here.
All right. Did everyone go? Did you have one? It's good. We don't have enough for every. It's good that we have more people than we have red noses. This is not too bad. 2 over there. Pass them over. Let's get them on. Got an extra one? Here. Marnie needs one. Whoa. Here you go, Marnie. Carol's already got a cold, so she can do this nasal thing without. Now look around at each other. Look at each other. All right? Lighten up. As you go through the week and you find yourself slipping into catastrophizing or awfulizing or even just complaining, grab this red nose and put it on and say, do not worry about your life. Do not worry about your body. You can't add a single hour to your life by worrying. And then go outside with the red nose on and look at the birds. Look at the flowers. And stop worrying. Lighten up. We have challenges to deal with. That's true. And if we can put our challenges into perspective and connect to one another without catastrophizing or awfulizing, together we can meet whatever challenges come our way in the love that is the one who nourishes, grounds, and sustains us in this beautiful life, in this beautiful place, in these wonderful times. For we are, after all is said and done, a spiritual people. And spirituality is recognizing and celebrating that we are inextricably connected to each other by a power that is greater than all of us, and that our connection to that power and to one another is grounded in love and compassion. And practicing spirituality brings a sense of perspective, meaning, and purpose to our lives. And therein lies our hope. Lighten up. Look at the birds, look at the flowers. Remember, the creator of all that is created a duck-billed platypus. So laugh a little. Amen. Challenge you to sing with his noses on. I don't think it's possible.